Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another day in my life. Now, I am very excited for today's video because it is honestly so cute. Like when I was editing this, I just kept thinking about the caption I wrote in my recent Instagram picture, and that was that I had no idea how sweet motherhood would be. Side note, this video is all over the map. I've lost track of days even more now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to my channel and turn on your alerts for notifications every time I upload a new video. So with all of that being said, let's hop right in. Now, we have just had some of the most beautiful days here recently in Nashville weather-wise. I know I find myself saying that a lot of the year, but I think I'm just still in awe of watching the seasons change, feeling everything warm up, but still stay kind of cool, watching the rain come in and water all of the plants that are just thriving, seeing the flowers on the trees. Oh, the flowers on the trees. I think that's probably my favorite thing, has just been so life-giving. So random immune boosting moment, I decided to take 2 of these Wetherspoon immunity gummies in the citrus flavor, which I'm probably going to pause my voiceover and have 2 of these right now because they look so good. No time passed for you, but I literally just had 2 of those. Now, I tend to do a lot of my milk pumping and storage during the day upstairs. On this day, I had filled up an extra bag, so I brought it downstairs to pop in the freezer and add to my freezer stash. If you want to see an extremely detailed story all about my breastfeeding journey, I actually just uploaded that video, so I will link that down below. So when I came downstairs, I pulled out another Wetherspoon product, and that's this apple cider vinegar drink. I had a glass of that while I observed Dan doing the dishes. Go Dan. For dinner, we actually pulled out one of our frozen Cajun chicken pasta sauces that we made in one of our freezer cooking videos. So we just freeze the sauce and the veggies and the chicken, like the whole mixture, but not the noodles. And so we cooked up some noodles, added the sauce to that. So I decided that I wanted to process the kale that I had in the fridge into a kale salad. And one thing I like about kale, especially this like thicker kind of kale, I don't remember what it's called, is that you can make really big salads and add the dressing, and they will still save in the fridge for like a couple of days. So you can really just like make it ahead for yourself or not worry about making too much. And even if you don't eat it all, it still like maintains its crunch. And actually, I think it gets more flavorful and cuts any bitterness that might be there in the kale. So I was cutting up the kale, but if you guys saw my breastfeeding journey, you know that I sprained my wrists, and that's a whole thing from a hand pump. Long story, go watch the video if you're curious. But I was cutting the kale and my wrists were so tired. Dan like stepped in. He's like, let me do that for you. So shout out to you, Dan, again. So then I cut up these cherry tomatoes that I had from Costco. Then I opened up a can of these garbanzo beans, gave them a rinse, and then added them to the top of the salad. Then Dan had picked me up some chives from the grocery store, which I like my own homegrown Tower Garden chives so much better than grocery store chives, but they were still pretty good. So I chopped them up to throw into the mix as well. Then I took out a cucumber and I cut off kind of like a rough chop, the outside skin. And then I proceeded to chop up the cucumber into little pieces to add to the top as well. Then I had some parsley that I had picked from my Tower Garden that I feel like I repeat the same phrases over and over, that I chopped up and added to the top. But that's what I did. And then I also took some feta cheese and added that, and then also threw some hemp seeds on top. Then I made a batch of honey mustard vinaigrette, which is the exact same as my balsamic vinaigrette dressing, except I use apple cider vinegar, and I think I used a honey mustard in this, or maybe I just added extra honey. I don't remember, but that's what I did. I drizzled it on the salad, added some chunky sea salt, which has been my favorite thing to do with salad lately, tossed it up, and then that was the rest of my meal. I'm actually literally realizing as I'm watching this that this was Cajun pasta we had made the night before, so we pulled it out of the fridge to reheat some for that night. But we were actually wanting to store the rest in the freezer. So once I had eaten my food, I packed the rest of the sauce into Ziploc baggies, wrote the date and like the name of what's in it on the cover, threw those in the freezer. In case you were interested, this was my 20-minute milk harvest. I very frequently tend to pump while I eat. So speaking of eating, this was my breakfast on this day. You guys know I have been so into cheesy eggs on avocado toast, sourdough bread, Brussels sprouts on top, tossed in a balsamic vinaigrette. And lately I have been loving pistachio nuts. They've actually been like an addiction of mine. And then on the side, I had some Greek yogurt with raw honey, blueberries, blackberries, hemp seeds, and some vitamins. I don't tend to take my vitamins in the morning, but if I have a heavy enough breakfast where I feel confident I won't get nauseous, then I will have some in the morning. All right, so you already know this if you follow me on Instagram, but recently, like 2-ish weeks ago, we made the switch to cloth diapers. Now, let me give you the short summary. I will do like a full-on video about them at some point, but the short summary is I'm obsessed. I love them. I know that sounds so weird to talk about diapers and like being obsessed with them, but I am. I didn't like using the disposable diapers for a whole list of reasons that I'll talk about in that video, but caring for these diapers has been surprisingly easy. Now, keep in mind, I am hashtag staying at home right now, so that might be part of it. That's like probably for sure part of it, but I'm really enjoying them, and honestly, I really think Logan prefers them, that he's more comfortable in them. Side note, I haven't shared this yet because I've kind of felt a little embarrassed, but I've decided today that I don't need to feel embarrassed. This is our little diaper changing station. And when I say I felt embarrassed, it's because like, I don't know, we don't have like a table. It's not like a proper setup. We literally just took part of our couch, laid down his little changing station, which by the way, I do love this little changing station from Love Dua. It's the same company that made our Moses basket. But yeah, we just laid it on our couch with the diapers next to it. So I realized I'm embarrassed to show people, but like, I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I think it's so cute that we have this little setup in our room. By the way, I always lay a little towel down that I have from Burt's Bees so that I don't have to clean the entire cover. We're going to also start using more reusable wipes, but as of now, the disposable wipes that we're using, and we will probably keep supplementing with, are these Young Living Seedlings wipes. We've only tried a couple, but we legitimately have liked these the best. By the way, this is the same company that makes the essential oils that I buy my oils from, and I'm also a distributor with them. So side note, if you ever have any questions about anything relating to Young Living, feel free to send me a DM on my oils Instagram. And as I always say, if it's your time to start your essential oils journey, then I can help you out with that. Speaking of oils, I thought I would show you that in my diffuser at the time, I was diffusing Shutron, which is actually like, they call it a men's blend with Young Living, but I really like it. Now, I was so excited because on this day, I actually received my LV pump. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen me talk about this, but this is one of 2 pumps that I use. And I actually talked about this in my last video, which was my breastfeeding journey. I love this thing. I feel so happy to have it and happy that I got to work with them as well. It felt like my birthday opening this up. I was so excited to get this. All right, baby cam moment. Every time Logan is in this swing in this corner, I just feel like he literally looks like an angel, just like hanging out in heaven. Okay, so another fun shipment that I got on this day was from Nutso. So I buy Nutso from Costco and I use a lot of that mix in my date treats that I like to make. And they actually reached out to me and offered to send me some of their other goodies. So next clip in my nonsensical, out of order day in my life was this meal that I made. I had cooked up some Israeli couscous on this day, and basically Dan and I had almost the same thing. It had like asparagus, cauliflower, onions, garlic, but then I also added some tomatoes to mine as well. And then we had some green grapes on the side, and I also chopped some green onions to add on the top. All right, another day, more food. So we're obviously staying home right now, but one of the businesses that we want to keep supporting is Five Daughters Bakery. And so we went and bought these two donuts, which are my fave. This is the Purist and the Quinn. The Purist is a vanilla bean cronut, and the Quinn is basically a croissant, but it's got like a little sweetness to it. Okay, so on this day, it was like high 70s, low 80s, but it started raining. And so we decided to bring Logan out into the rain just to, have a life experience. It was very cute. So, extremely random product insert, but I haven't talked about this in a while. I legitimately love this rose ointment from Young Living. It's one of the things that I attribute to healing my cuticles, which sounds really dramatic and like not a super high claim, but my cuticles used to be messed up, guys, messed up. And this stuff has really helped me. I love it. Now, I decided that I wanted to make some elderberry syrup, so I have a jar of dried elderberries that I pulled out to use, and then I also pulled out a bag of our chicken soup because I knew I wanted that to thaw to make for dinner that night. So to make the elderberry syrup, I just did, I believe, a 2-to-1 ratio of water and elderberries. So I poured in some of my Berkey water and I let it come to a boil, and then I measured out my dried elderberries to pour into the water. And basically I let the water get to a boil, and then I turned it really low to just simmer. There are so many recipes all over Pinterest to make elderberry syrup, and it's supposed to be great at supporting your overall wellness and immune system strength. So while that simmered, which was about an hour, I checked on the chicken noodle soup, and then I pulled out these globe artichokes that I got from Trader Joe's. I actually realized recently that I haven't shown you guys how I make artichokes in like a long time. And so I thought I would share because artichokes, especially made this way, are like one of my favorite foods. So while that was all continuing to simmer, I realized I had some bananas that like needed to be chopped up and stored away before they went bad. I pretty much eat bananas like the same way 90% of the time, and that is frozen in smoothies. So I just peeled them, broke them in half, threw them in the bag. By the way, here's my super cute, super loungy OOTD. Then I thought I would bring you over and show you what was going on with my lemon tree. I'm going to give you a sad update. That little lemon ended up falling off, so that stinks. However, a bunch of new flower buds have come up since this footage was shot, so let's all start praying for my future lemons. Just throwing that out there. think I brought you here just to show you like how many freezer meals I have right now. We've done so much freezer cooking over the last few months, and I'm really pleased with that because it always comes in handy at the right time. And especially recently with everything going on in my life and in all of our lives, it's been really nice to just grab it and have a meal done. You know you're in quarantine when walking to your mailbox is actually like an invigorating experience. I literally went out to get the mail and Dan's like, "You went to get the mail?" I'm like, whoa, we got to get out of here more often. So since then, we've actually started taking longer, more varied walks like daily. But that was just kind of a funny thing I thought I'd throw out there. Back to the artichokes. The way that I make my artichokes, I pull off a couple of the bottom stems that seem like annoying or they shouldn't be on there. Then I cut the top off of the artichokes as well as the bottom to make the stem a little shorter and also make the cut clean. And once I do all of that, I turn the artichokes over and I cut them in half from the top down. You do need a pretty sharp knife to do it, and you have to kind of hold the artichoke together so it doesn't like completely crumble and fall apart. But that is what I do. Then I throw my little steamer net into a pot and I lay down all of the artichokes and then I steam them. So it typically takes anywhere from like 30 to 45 minutes for me to steam artichokes. Then I make this aioli that's like a must. So I start off with the mayonnaise. I use Vegenaise just because I really, really like it. I want to start making my own avocado mayonnaise, but I'm not there yet, people. So I scoop a bunch of Vegenaise into a bowl or whatever, and then I press some lemon juice, lots and lots of lemon juice. In this case, I just used one, but this lemon press is like the best lemon press ever. So it gets a lot of juice out, which, by the way, if you ever have questions about anything that you see in my videos, I try to make sure that everything is linked in the info box that you would see in the video, including links to a shop page on my blog where I've broken down basically like rooms in my house. You can like shop my living room and you can see everything linked in there that I've been able to find online and that I get questions about. And when you purchase something through any of my links, I actually get a commission from your purchase, which I appreciate so much. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. Okay, so then I cut open and peeled some fresh garlic. I always prefer fresh garlic over frozen garlic. I've told you guys that for some reason. I feel like pre-crushing and freezing garlic changes the flavor. So I like to keep it whole and then crush it. Then I add tons of pepper. Like I go overboard on the pepper in this sauce. I just keep adding pepper. I don't know why, but it makes it so good. Then I add in a little bit of pink Himalayan salt, and then I just stir everything together. So it's super easy. It is so incredible. Whenever I make this for people, they're always like overly impressed with the flavor, but it's so simple. By the way, at this point, my elderberries had been simmering for over an hour. So I took them off the heat and I poured the whole mixture through this mesh strainer that I have into a bowl, so all of the juice came through, and then I was able to take a spatula and kind of push and scrape all of the berries against the strainer to get all of the liquid out. Now, the next step is a little weird. I basically take a little knife and I cut out the center part of the artichoke. I try to cut as little as possible, which is basically just the spiky parts that I don't want to eat. So I try to keep as many leaves and everything in, because as you get to the center, everything becomes more tender. So you really want to have that to eat. But I just I don't even know how you could eat the spiky part. So that's the part you want to cut out in the middle. So then I take some balsamic vinegar and I drizzle it all over the artichokes. And I specifically try to like get the nozzle head up in between leaves so that the balsamic vinegar goes like into the artichoke, if that makes sense. Then I add a bunch more pepper to the top. Now, pause. At this point, the chicken noodle soup had thawed, so I added it to a pot, and then I added more chicken broth, as well as a little bit of leftover veggie broth that I had. And by the way, the pasta that we cooked up is a chickpea pasta from Costco. After the artichokes that had a chance to soak up the balsamic, I threw them into the broiler to crisp up a little bit at the top, and this was my dinner. By the way, after my elderberry syrup had a chance to cool, I transferred it into a mason jar. Then I added a little bit of this Wetherspoon raw Manuka honey. Then I added a drop of pure cinnamon bark oil, as well as pure ginger oil. Then I used my little like electric frother thing. I don't know, I felt like using it to mix it up. And then I screwed on the top to my mason jar, shook up the mason jar, and then threw the mixture in the fridge.
Really? Oh my goodness. Yeah? Really? My baby.
All right, guys, we are making progress on the spring garden. So much is happening so fast. I'm so excited to share, but Bowser, I think he loves it. Everything you just saw is one of the many reasons I love bull terriers. Also, look at our garlic, killing the game. Logan is probably going to spend a lot of time in the garden this spring and summer, and it just makes me so excited I can hardly handle it. So we were kind of evaluating everything because we knew we needed to pick and confirm and start our seeds that night, which I just realized we haven't even really started all of the seeds that I want. But that night we did sit down and start a bunch of our seeds. Like I mentioned, I bought a lot of seeds this season from Baker Creek. It's a seed company that a ton of homesteaders like rave about. So I'm super excited to see how those plants produce. So I've mentioned that we've been eating freezer meals like crazy, which is true, but we've also been like replenishing and freezing more freezer meals. And on this day, we decided to make yet another batch of chicken soup. I feel like a lot of people probably wonder how we manage to eat this much food, but we just do. We eat a lot of food. We also share a lot of food, like when family comes over. We kind of love having like an excessive amount of food on hand. I'm like defending myself. We just really like food. So we made more of the soup today. Dan had already cooked the chicken for a few hours and I pre-cut the veggies, sat those in the fridge, and then when it was time, I just like dumped them in, as you saw, added all the spices and let all of that simmer. And then when the soup part was ready, we made some more noodles. I can't believe that you're watching me make chicken noodle soup, by the way, twice in one video. I feel like my videos are so repetitive, but I also love sharing like the truth of the everyday little things because I'm really enjoying myself and I find like beauty in the repetition. So I've also been bit by the baking bug lately, which I feel like everyone has. And I saw this recipe for oat chocolate chip cookies in Kristen Cavallari's cookbook. As you can see, some of them were extremely burnt, but let me just tell you, these cookies turned out amazing. I did not expect it. So I'm going to show you in an upcoming video, like exactly how I made them. It's taken a little practice. I'm not a baker naturally, guys. But it was really good. So then I made my way upstairs to practice and play a little bit of piano. This has been something that has been so important for me to continue to find time to put into. As you guys know, I used to be a dancer. So this is one of the ways that I'm able to try to bring music back and the expression of music into my everyday life. All right, so we're checking in with my seedlings because look at them go. Holy moly. I legitimately think I'm getting better and better at growing seedlings. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I keep learning like little tips and tricks and it's just been really fun. So I needed to water my seedlings. And the way that I water them is I just add water to the bottom. Like I don't put the water on top of the plant. So they're basically just fed the water from their root system underneath. And then this is today's check-in with my tower garden. As you know, if you saw like my last few day in my lives, I had cut a ton of parsley off my tower garden and look at how big the leaves are that have grown back. It's like the most ginormous parsley leaves ever. All right, peeps, so we're heading back to my kitchen to make a veggie omelet. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of times where I try to just think of like what food I could make that I could like put as many veggies in as possible. I don't know if I'm wording that right, but I'll just like think, okay, what could I squeeze? Like how many veggies could I put in this lasagna? What sounds good? Or how many veggies can I get in this omelet? Or what can I make to get a ton of veggies in? I love veggies and I believe in their nutritional power. And so on this day, as you can see, I had a lot of produce around. I try to have a lot of produce around regularly. As you guys know, I don't even know why I'm explaining that. But yeah, I chopped up all of my veggies for my omelet. By the way, I've been saving my scraps from my veggies recently in a freezer bag because I am finally going to make my own veggie broth. I tried a few months ago, but I accidentally let the water simmer away till all of the veggies were burnt. So we're gonna try again. Okay guys, so I put on my LV. I realize it looks crazy, but that's because I'm not wearing it with my sports bra or a proper nursing bra. But this is super easy and comfortable around the house. This is actually a pumping bra. The hole where the pump goes into is right over the milk containers on my pump. This, by the way, was my omelet when it was complete. And I had some salad that I picked from my tower garden as well. And I also had some blackberries. So I did an omelet on another morning. I don't know if this is pointless to film, but I also chopped up a ton of oranges and had like the end pieces of my sourdough toast. I wanted to just like toast all the little pieces up and add some butter. And so on this morning for the omelet, I chopped up some mushrooms, as well as some onions. I also chopped up jalapeno because I feel like I'm always trying to find reasons or ways to add spice to things. As well as some tomatoes. Now, on this morning, I not only wanted this omelet, but I was actually taking pictures for the Instagram picture I was doing with Elvie. I wore it my sports bra for the picture because I didn't think that the pumping bra translated very well. And I do switch depending on what I'm doing. But I wore my Elvie, I pumped some milk, made my omelet, took my pictures, took my little boomerang, and just got hyped about my next omelet. Never enough omelets, apparently. So in this omelet, by the way, I decided to add some fresh spinach as well. I actually did the tomatoes and the spinach separately from the other veggies because I felt like they didn't need to be cooked as much. So I cooked the other veggies first, then I did the tomatoes and the spinach, took that all off the heat. Then I took 2 eggs, which I wish I had only taken 1 because I like the taste of 1 egg better for an omelet. Anyways, I whipped it up with my fork, poured some avocado oil on the pan, and then added my eggs to the pan as well. Once that had a chance to heat up, I scooped in my veggies as well as some goat cheese. Goat cheese is really good on an omelet. Just throwing that out there. And then that was my omelet. So hopefully that wasn't annoying seeing me make an omelet twice. It's always hard to tell with your own stuff what people care about seeing and what they don't care about seeing. So I just love getting to share these videos with you and really share so many of my favorite things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, check my info box for today's giveaway. To those of you that are new to my channel or maybe have never even made it this far in a video, I do semi-secret giveaways in my info box as a way to say thank you to you guys for all of your support. Every time you thumbs up my video, every time you purchase a product using my link, every time you comment, every time you share my channel, it means a lot to me. And so doing these little random giveaways is one of the ways that I can say thank you. So I hope you're all staying safe out there. I'm praying for just this community and I mean the world in general, but I'm praying for you guys. I will hopefully see you back here soon with another new video. And that is all. Okay, bye guys.